Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison podcast. I'm your host, the wonderful Misty Morrison, and this is episode 18 of Was I in the Wrong? Let's get right on into the stories. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/relationship advice. My freshly ex-boyfriend, 27 male, keeps blowing up my 24 female phone after his hurtful April Fool's prank and our breakup. How can I cut him off without cutting off my entire friend group? Initial reaction. It might not be possible. Depending on who is friends with the other friends first, I feel like that makes the biggest difference in this one. I made an AIO post because I have been really emotional about the situation. Here is the context of why he keeps messaging me. So I, 24 female, and my boyfriend, 27 male, have been together just over a year now. He has never been the pranking type, and we have explicitly discussed that I do not enjoy pranks or surprises. Occasionally, he will do a little jump out from around a corner to spook me, and I usually playfully slap his arm and he laughs, and that is that. This completely came out of left field. Yesterday, he told me he had something serious to discuss with me, so we sat down. He genuinely looked like he was on the verge of tears. This man rarely cries, so already I was holding and kissing his hand, telling him it was okay. He shakily let out that he cheated on me with his best friend's girlfriend and that she's pregnant. My heart stopped. I think I genuinely had a panic attack, tearing up and trying not to puke. He just sat there watching me, looking all emotional and apologizing over and over. I had been cheated on before, which he was very aware of because we have had extensive conversations about some of my trust issues that we had been working through together. This played on all my worst fears. Once I could speak, I told him to leave, and he did. Once I calmed down a bit, I called his best friend and asked if he knew about the affair and the baby. I figured he did. I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't still in the dark because he deserved to know. He replied with, "Oh, he didn't actually do this to you, did he?" I told him not to, that this was a bad idea. I thought he was talking about the fact that my BF knocked up his girlfriend and said, "You knew in advance that they were having sex," and told him not to do that because it would hurt me. He broke the news that the whole thing was a prank. There was no affair and there was no baby. I felt numb at this point. I just laid there and contemplated our relationship. I couldn't believe that he would think to hurt me as an attempt at a joke. I still can't. I didn't contact him at all, and he didn't contact me. I was waiting for him to show up and tell me it was a prank, but he never did, until about 6 p.m. He called me and told me to visit my backyard. He had set up a table and made it pretty, which really isn't his forte, had takeout Italian food waiting for me, and a sign that said April Fools in the back. For a second, I was relieved that he did something so sweet and found myself clinging to it. But I still felt hurt. He grinned and walked up to me, kissing me and saying he couldn't believe I fell for it, and that he thought I would know it was a prank. I cut to the chase and broke up with him. The whole day was just emotional whiplash, and I felt toyed with. The whole day was just emotional whiplash, and I felt toyed with. I said that I didn't know if I could be in a relationship with someone who could lie to my face like that and think it was funny. He said it was funny and that he was sorry if I didn't get it. I have just been so overwhelmed and emotional over this, and I just want to know if I'm overreacting or not. He has never done something like this before, but I do not know if I can recover. Am I overreacting? So now, he has left a total of 39 voicemails and probably hundreds of messages, and the number is only increasing. I need him to stop. He won't listen to me when I say I need space from him. I really don't want to block him or make this messier than it needs to be, because we share a friend group. I don't want to be the reason people pick sides and things fall apart. Any advice? OP, you are not overreacting. You are right. And I think you should block him. He's not... from the beginning of this day, he didn't respect your needs and your boundaries when he played a prank on you. That is not a prank, that's just mean, and that's horrible. But then later, when you wanted to break up with him and you said you needed space, he is not giving you that space. I think you 100% should block him, and you will not be the reason when people pick sides and things fall apart. He is the reason because he did something incredibly hurtful and stupid. Yeah, my advice is just to block him. Change your locks, because apparently, like, he has access. Yeah, like, I hope he calms down after you block him and lets it go. And hopefully he learns something and never does this again. But block him, and I think if people ask, why you guys broke up so suddenly, tell the truth. Tell them he knew you didn't like pranks, and he played a horrible prank on you, and feel free to tell them what the prank was. And you just, based on your trust issues, you just couldn't get past it, and that's fine. That is fair. I'm sorry it ended like that for you, because that's hard, because you really did not see that coming out of anywhere. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/AITAH. AITAH for refusing to pay for my boyfriend's bro nights after he put me on the spot. Immediate reaction, no. Update, we officially just broke up. On to the story. So, I, 24 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 26 male, for about a year. He's super into his weekly bro nights with his friends, which I totally support. I usually just chill at home, do my own thing, no problem. This past Friday, we were out grabbing dinner when his friends called, asking him to come over for poker and drinks. He said sure, and then right in front of them, turned to me and went, "Babe, you got this, right?" Meaning the bill. I was caught off guard, but figured, whatever, I'll cover dinner. But then he added, "And can you send me some money for drinks? I'm kinda low on cash." At this point, his friends were laughing and hyping him up like, "Yeah, take care of your man." I felt super awkward, but just said, "No, I think you got it." He got quiet, paid for his half, and left. Later, he texted saying I embarrassed him in front of his friends and that I made him look like he doesn't wear the pants in the relationship. I told him I'm happy to treat him sometimes, but I don't like being put on the spot, especially when it's for him to go out without me. Now he's sulking, and his friends are apparently joking about how he lost his sponsor. AITAH for standing my ground? No, this is weird. I feel like you already made yourself look like you didn't wear the pants when, like, you're in a situation where you were expecting to pay for something, and then you turn around and ask someone else to. Also, if you didn't have enough money to go for poker and drinks with the boys, you should have said no. Like, you can't just expect, like, regardless of who it is, you can't just expect someone to help you with a non-necessary expense. Even if it was necessary, you still can't expect that kind of help. It is nice when you are able to get help, but she didn't owe it to you. And like joking about how he lost his sponsor, I feel like that's an inside joke among this guy group. And maybe this is something that they do, but that's weird. Like, if you want to go out for poker and drinks, you should be able to pay for it. Like, yes, like, if, like, for you to cover the dinner that you guys were out getting, totally fine. Like, you ate, that's fair. But then to be like, oh, send me some money. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So no, you are right. You are not the asshole for standing your ground. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/relationship advice. My 29 male girlfriend, 30 female, has been lying to me our entire relationship. How do I move on after all these lies? Initial reaction, it's not sounding good, but I guess it depends on what the lies are, maybe? I don't know, I need more. My girlfriend, Sarah, and I have been together for a little over a year. I recently just moved to Houston, but I'm originally from North Carolina, and I got a job in Houston. I was nervous moving, but luckily I had my cousin, Nathan, there who was living with his wife, Sarah. They helped with my apartment search, and I ended up choosing the same apartment they stay at. Nathan works the night shift, and Sarah and I started spending the majority of the evening together. I started falling for her because we just clicked. I don't know how to explain it. I started noticing the tension and planned on pulling away. But she asked me if I was attracted to her. I told her out of respect for Nathan, I won't answer that. Then she told me she was attracted to me. I told her, look, if this is just attraction and wanting to get your rocks off, I don't want anything to do with it because it's not fair to Nathan or their marriage. But she told me it was more than that. Afterwards, I confessed my love and she said it was mutual. After that, we talked about her leaving Nathan for me. As much as it hurts, we knew everyone evolved to deserve better. Or so I thought. It was all a lie. She never did anything, and we kept things a secret. At first, I thought it was because it was a tough thing to say, because I didn't want to hurt anyone. But I told her love is hard, life is hard. She pushed off. Still, the truth always comes out. I'm still not sure how Nathan found out, but he found out about us dating. This is not how I wanted him to find out because things turned messy quick. I wanted him to find out by us coming clean, but he found out on his own. But what I wasn't prepared for was Sarah's complete 180. She is attempting to reconcile with Nathan and has told me that she's sorry she let it get this far, but I meant nothing to her. She is attempting to reconcile with Nathan and has told me that she's sorry she let it get this far, but I meant nothing to her. It was just sex to her. That effing hurt, man. I asked her if she loved me and she said no. That she cares about me the same way she cares for any person, but doesn't love me. I'm just in disbelief. Our whole relationship was a damn lie. I just don't get it. I have trust issues. Relationship with the rest of my family took a hit. My cousin and I are no longer on speaking terms. She did this because she wanted to get her rocks off. My cousin almost fought me physically over this. Luckily, calmer heads prevailed, but all this shit for her to say it meant nothing? It hurts a lot. So... I mean, I feel like you should have seen this coming. Like this started as an affair. I don't feel like if you were the person who is cheating with someone who's in a relationship, I don't feel like you can ever take them at their word that they're going to leave until they've left. Like you started an affair with your cousin's wife. I don't feel bad for you. You never should have done it. Like, she's wrong too, yes, but you're both wrong. Like, if you liked her, you could have expressed those feelings and said, if you decide to end things, if things between you two don't work out, then we can give it a try. But until then, we can't be anything because you're married to my cousin. That was the right thing to do. Yeah, this was a bad idea from the start. And yeah, I don't like this. I don't feel bad for you. You chose to cheat. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/AITAH. AITAH for wanting my husband to stick up for me. Initial reaction, no. But let's see the details. There's gotta be a reason you're asking the question. My husband and I have been together 17 years. Anytime we ever have anything controversial with other people, he never takes my side. This has built up for 15 years, to be honest, and I don't think I can tell you where we are today without letting you in on the past. 15 years ago, I told my husband, then boyfriend, that I loved the Nissan Altimas, and it was my dream car. I was still in high school. My husband was out of school and was 18 while I was 16. He graduated at 16 due to being homeschooled. So he had already been in the workforce for a while. So for my graduation present, he bought me a Nissan Altima. It was pretty, don't get me wrong, but I hated that car. Hated it the day I got it. The salesman even made the comment, "Are you not excited?" No, I wasn't. I hated that car. It misrepresented everything about the integrity I had tried to build of independence. I understand why he did it. He loved me and wanted me to have everything I ever wanted, so because the papers were already signed, I had no choice but to take the car. So I took over the payment as well, which was stressful. Well after he bought me the car, his sister began being really effing mean to me. I guess he never told her that I took the payment book, and she started telling all our friends that I used him and all that, which would be understandable in her perspective. But I was hurt. For 10 plus years, she was straight mean to me, including his mother. Once we went out to a restaurant that my husband had helped build on opening day with his family. I didn't want to go, and I told him I didn't because they were always so mean to me, but it was important to him because he was proud of his work. So finally, I agreed to go, but under the condition that we drove separately, since it was an hour drive there and an hour drive back. When we pulled up in his parents' driveway, they asked if we were going to ride with them, and he, without hesitation, said, "Oh yeah." So we rode with them to the restaurant. We got there, and because it was opening day, it was super busy. They sat us at 2 different tables side by side. My husband and I at one table, and my mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, and her at-the-time husband at the other. Her husband and I went to the same high school, although he was a couple years older than me, and he was talking about something, and whatever he was talking about, he said, "They don't put this in the history books, but..." So trying to engage and be kind, I laughed and said, "You didn't go to XYZ high school, did you? That sounds like something our principal would have said." His response was, "I went to effing college. What the F have you ever done?" So I just backed up and simply stopped engaging in conversation. Man. Awkward silence for a moment, and then they continued with normal conversation. Shortly after, my husband physically took his chair and turned his back towards me and engaged in their conversation and left me sitting at the table all by myself. I was heartbroken. I began to cry silently at my table with a few tears trying to creep from my face. The table next to us had what appeared to be a 2-year-old and saw everything, I'm assuming, and felt sorry for me and talked their 2-year-old to come give me a hug. I ran to the bathroom and cried huge. When it was time to go, we got in the car, and my husband was sitting on my right and father-in-law to my left. My husband, I guess, finally decided he wanted to cheer me up and started sticking his fingers in my ear trying to make me laugh. He tried to get my father-in-law to do it, and my father-in-law said, "No, I don't think it's the right time for that." We all rode in silence all the way back. We fought, but I always held a grudge because of that. I know he loves me, and he is so good to me in so many ways. Fast forward about 2 years. I still don't talk to his family or engage with them in more than I absolutely have to, other than his dad. His dad is absolutely golden. I couldn't ask for a better father-in-law. Anyways, things were bad, and I ended up cheating on him and leaving him for another dude. Dated that dude about 3 months and decided the grass is definitely not greener on the other side. About a month later, my husband and I resumed dating, still not talking to his family. Then we got married, and I started doing more with his mom and sister, but they were still mean and said mean things to me, and he still never took up for me. Then, several years later, we went on vacation in this big, beautiful house. I don't remember what his sister did or said to me, but whatever it was, I guess I had enough of the abuse, so I ain't gonna lie, I told her off. My husband still never said a word. Then he never continued his family vacation while I stayed in our bedroom. It was literally awful. His sister and I pretty much never spoke for years. That sounds like a good thing. Then, 4 years ago, I gave birth to our son. Her entire demeanor has changed, and she's super nice to me now. I have embraced the kindness, and we exchanged nice words and gestures. I swept it under the rug and moved on, but his mom still makes snide comments. His mom and dad divorced about 10 years ago, as she moved several states away, to where she was originally from. She says all kinds of snide remarks, still to this day. Last time she was here visiting, we had just poured some concrete in our backyard and was discussing how we put our 4-year-old handprints in the concrete. And I jokingly said, "Yeah, I told my husband I was going to put my butt print in it. That way, if he ever gets another wife, she'll have to see my ass every day." Her response was, "Don't worry, we can patch it." It's always been comments like that. For context, my husband just laughs and I'm expected to move on. You always have. Now, last year, we helped with our church to put on an Easter egg hunt. His best friend goes to church with us. I'm friends with his wife, and they have a little boy that is 2 years older than our son. The week before the hunt at church, their son bit our son. He was 5 at the time. His mama got onto him. Kids will be kids, and it was what it was. I didn't think any more of it. Then, after the Easter egg hunt, we were cleaning up, and my husband's best friend was playing with both the boys, and they were all play wrestling. Well, my 3-year-old at the time ended up biting their little boy. His best friend picked our son up by one arm and was whipping him multiple times while swinging him around. Then his wife came over and started yelling at my 3-year-old and threw him in timeout on the church pew while sticking her finger in his face. I literally stood there in shock as if it were a dream. I literally felt like I weighed 1,000,000 pounds. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My mom was there, and she went and picked our son up and looked at me and said, "We're leaving." I was like, "Yes, please. I'll see you at home." I just finished cleaning up and left. My husband was like, "I don't know. I didn't see..." My husband was like, "I don't know. I didn't see it happen. If he bit, he needed to get in trouble, blah, blah, blah." Just really downplaying it and gaslighting me. So you know. I was so mad. My husband continued to talk to him and was like, "Yeah, she's mad at you. Maybe she will get over it." Well, his friend apologized to me and our son, which is a big thing for him to do because I know him well enough to know that it took a lot for him to admit he was wrong. So I forgave him. We moved on. A year later, there's a little boy that is in my son's pre-K class that we know, and his dad and my husband grew up with his dad. A year later, there's a little boy that is in my son's pre-K class that we know his dad, and my husband grew up with his dad. He's not living in a great situation. The mom and dad fight a lot. He just recently got arrested for domestic violence. He's a nice guy, but they just simply don't get along. So my son is friends with that little boy at school. So I started inviting him to church with us, and he loves it. I told my sister-in-law, my half-brother's wife, who also goes to church with us, that I hoped we could show goodness to this little boy, and I was glad he was coming to church with us and loving church so much. She agreed, and we all took turns picking him up for church and bringing him home. My sister-in-law is a substitute teacher, and she subbed for my son's pre-K class. Because it is pre-K, they have 2 teachers at all times. Well, apparently, when she subbed for my son's class, her and the other teacher got to talking, and she texted me and said, "Dude, Mrs. XYZ is really concerned about what the little boy that we have been bringing to church watches at home." I was like, "Yeah, he watches some creepy stuff, but he's 4, and he has a brother that's 14 and a sister that's 16. So I'm not sure what I'd do if I were the parents because that's a big age gap." Well, the next day, she came up to me at church and was like, "Hey, what do you let your son watch on TV?" And I said, "YouTube Kids." And she said, "Well, I'm glad he's coming to church with us, but I'm just really concerned about what he's going to be teaching our kids in the process." Well, that pissed me off, so I walked away because I don't feel like that is Christian-like. Then that Friday, I got a note sent home from that teacher stating that my child has been having defiant behaviors. It was like a week from Christmas break, and now we are suddenly having defiant behavior? Nothing has changed at home. Why suddenly defiant behaviors? I'm not saying my kid didn't do what she said he did. I'm not that parent to say my kid's perfect and will never do anything wrong. But maybe nothing has actually changed from normal but the teacher's perception of our son, since his aunt was obviously gossiping with her that Tuesday. Now my husband still acts like nothing has happened and I should just move on. I don't want to move on. That's my kid. I asked if we could move churches, and he told me no, that our kid loves the kids there, and he doesn't want to make new friends. Now I feel fed up and want to leave him because it will never change. He will never have my back. I will always fight for what I believe in alone. Am I the asshole? Okay. I kind of feel like, to answer the question, no, OP, you're not the asshole. You're right. But I feel like the teacher saying the kid has defiant behaviors based on gossip that she heard the week before is really a weird place to draw the line in the sand. Like so much worse has happened in these past 17 years. Like, I feel like this is a little thing in the in the playpen, because it just is comparatively, because you don't know that he didn't act defiantly. I don't know why this is the line for you, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. I'm glad you're finally willing to stand up for yourself. It does make me really sad that, like, you've known for so long he was gaslighting you. You've known for so long who he was and that his family didn't like you. They were mean to you. They were mean to you and he let you get away with it. For your entire relationship, he has chosen his family over you. For your entire relationship, he has been unwilling to defend you, to stand up for you, to agree with you. Like they always say, what is it? I don't know if it's agree in public, admonish in private, but something along those lines, where you have your partner's back in public, whether or not they're right or wrong, and then in private, you actually let them know if they were wrong or not. Like, I hate that you've lived this way for this long, and I really want, like, therapy, because you should have known from, yes, you were young when you two got together, but you should have known several years into it who he was, and the core of who people are doesn't change. People can change their behaviors. They can learn to mask certain things if they want to, but the core of who somebody is doesn't change. And it seems like at the core of who your husband is, he's a doormat. He's never going to stick up for you. He's going to let everybody else walk all over you and just expect you to move on. And he's not wrong for expecting you to move on because you always did. You taught him through your actions that he didn't have to stick up for you all these years because you let it go. It seems like you never said anything, like you never said much about the things that he didn't do. And it's really hard for people to realize what they're not doing and how much that affects you if you don't tell them. Like, it's much easier to recognize actions that were wrong than inactions that were wrong because literally nothing happened. So, you're right. I hope you truly do go ahead and leave because your child, your son, is learning horrible lessons by watching you get walked on and his dad letting it happen. And he's going to think that's normal and okay. So, I hope you leave. Whew, that was a long one. All right, we've got one more for today. It is a shorter one. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/AITAH. AITA for telling my wife to divorce me because I'm not forcing adoption on my daughter. Immediate reaction, no. I, 33 male, have an 8-year-old daughter, Ella, with my ex, and I have full custody of her. I'm married to Laura, 30 female, and we have 2 kids together. Ella's mom is a train wreck. Alcohol, drugs, multiple arrests, and a lot of personal issues. She has not seen Ella for around a year now. She did have supervised visits ordered by the court, but she didn't always make those due to hospitalizations, arrests, and such. I've been dating Laura since Ella was 2, so she's very familiar with Laura. But she doesn't call her mom, and she still loves her mom and wishes her mom would get better and be a real mom to her. I have her in therapy to help her process everything. Laura knew how things were when we started dating, and she knew how it was when we got married. I always made it clear that my priority was Ella's safety, health, and happiness, and I told her I understood if it got to be too much as she didn't want to commit, but she said she was on board for it all. Only now, she's tired of my ex reappearing every so often and she wants to adopt Ella so my ex can't have any access ever again. She does love Ella and sees her as hers just as much as mine, but the main reason she's being so forceful is severing my ex's rights would get her out of the picture until Ella's 18 and chooses to look for her mom on her own. Laura says this is what's best for her and for all of us, but Ella doesn't want to be adopted by Laura. Even if her mom never gets better, she doesn't want to be adopted. I respect this and I won't force it. But Laura isn't happy. She said we have the other 2 kids to think of as well, and how Ella might pull away from us if her mom causes more trouble in the future. She might choose her over us. I said that could happen even if she adopts her. And I said it will definitely happen if we force this. Laura and I have discussed this numerous times now, and she told me she doesn't see our marriage surviving if I won't talk Ella around or let her do it, or get a therapist who will. She said she will not keep being just the stepmom when Ella's mom won't put her first, while she has been and doesn't get the benefit of legal stability of adoption. She said I only had two options and needed to decide which I wanted. I told her to divorce me then, because I'm not forcing the adoption on Ella. Laura didn't expect my answer, and she told me she thought I'd offer to speak to Ella more, that I clearly don't care about our marriage. I said I do, but she gave me two options, and one option was never happening. And I can't control if she divorces me for it. AITA? No, OP, you are not the asshole. You are right. Yeah. I mean, when you give people ultimatums, F around and find out. Like, what do you expect is going to happen? When you give an ultimatum, one option is the option that you want them to choose, and the other option is the one you don't. And a lot of times you think by giving someone an ultimatum, you're pushing them in your direction. But I feel like this was always so clear. Like, you were always so clear about it. Ella doesn't want it. You're not going to force it. Like, you're doing everything you can to protect her mental, emotional, physical well-being. And the fact that Laura can't respect that and is even willing, like, she would be the one hurting the two kids you have together by choosing to divorce you over this, over a piece of paper to get rid of Ella's mom. And I don't think that has anything to do with Ella at all. I don't know if Laura's maybe insecure, but it really doesn't sound like this is about Ella and their relationship. It's clearly not. This is about making sure that your ex-wife cannot be in the picture. She's tired of seeing her. That's the impression I get. And I can see where, like, that does uproot things whenever she just randomly chooses to come back. That's hard. But, like, forcing an adoption, you're right, would absolutely push Ella away. Especially when, she's old enough to have these conversations with you and physically say, I don't want that. To force that on her would be horrible. And Laura really should be ashamed of herself for trying to force that on her. If they already have a great relationship, if they already get along great, she treats Ella like she's her own, Ella treats her like a mom, just doesn't call her mom, leave it alone. There are some things that you don't need to change with a piece of paper. And this piece of paper is so big in her eyes, and it's not what she wants, that you forcing this issue is going to lead to a different piece of paper, a very lengthy piece of paper that says your two kids that you have together don't get to live with mom and dad at the same time anymore because you guys are getting a divorce because because Laura is unreasonably stubborn. So you are right. You cannot control if she divorces you for it, but I'm really proud of you for sticking up for your daughter and what she wants. And hopefully if a divorce does come, the courts will look at this in your favor of how much weight you give to the child's desires and their emotional needs when deciding who gets primary custody. All right, that is 5 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? That is us done for the day. Thank you for being here. If you are listening on audio, please leave a 5-star review to help the channel grow. If you are watching on YouTube, comment down below. Let me know what you thought of these stories. Like the video, subscribe for more, and share it with a friend. I will see you next time for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Bye.